Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Incoming here on the Psychosin project here on YouTube. Today I'll be reviewing the brand new Marilyn Manson album known as The Pale Emperor. Now, I know that in recent years Marilyn Manson's career has been a little bit shaky. I don't think anyone really enjoyed Eat Me, Drink Me that much. And the follow-up, The High End of Low, although showing promise, wasn't fantastic. I will admit his last album in 2012, called Born Villain, was a step in the right direction. A slight change of sound and some interesting ideas on there, but still not a fantastically formed product back to the very high sort of levels that we know Manson can reach. So, can he do it with this album? Well, first of all, I have to make something that some of you might see as a little bit of a petty complaint, but this isn't really aimed at Manson at all. No, it's not aimed at Manson at all. It's aimed at the record label, Cooking Vinyl, because what you get, because this is the special edition that costs an extra £2-3, and yet, for the case, that is where the CD is. I mean, what shit is that? That's it. That's the entire CD. There's no booklet, no lyrics, just a card inlay thing, and some like a little holder for the CD. Whereas if you paid the £10 for the normal edition, you get 3 tracks less, and you get a proper sort of normal, everyday CD case like this. Now, I know that may seem petty, but when you've got as many CDs as say I have, things like this mean the CD can come loose, or if I'm trying to take it around to mates or something for them to listen to, again, it can sort of fall out easily or anything. And the other thing is, whoever designed Marilyn Manson's new logo, I don't know if it was Manson himself, but kind of looks a little bit familiar, doesn't it? In fact, when I first saw this, I have to admit, I thought they'd misprinted a 9 Inch Nails logo on the back here. So I don't know if this is maybe a hint back to sort of give hope to his fans that this is going back to the days when he was having some of his albums co-written by Trent Reznor, because obviously one of his best albums, Antichrist Superstar, did have a lot of tracks engineered and co-written by Mr. Reznor back in 1996, along with obviously produced the album. Anyway, let's get on with it. Let's enter The Pale Emperor. I'll be doing this literally as usual, track by track, and literally this is my first time listening to anything off the album except for the single Deep Six, which I've heard once before. But let's get into it. The album kicks off with the song Killing Strangers. Now, I don't know if this is going to set a precedent for the rest of the album, but this doesn't come kicking and screaming out of the gates. This starts with, and continues throughout the song in fact, with a sleazy drum beat and a bass line to get the song sort of bringing to mind a bit of a 70s art rock style, and also reminding of his previous hit on Mechanical Animals album, The Dope Show. It's a very sparse sound to the song, with just bass vocals, keyboards and drums, and it stays that way for most of the song. After the first chorus, a lone guitar kicks in, but again, it's done very low key, to sort of blend in with the entire sound of the song. Manson sounding more melodic and in better voice than he has done for a while, in all honesty. During the chorus, he starts repeating the word love, and with every utterance of the word, it's sung with a mixture of emotional longing and despise. A bit of a surprising opener, really, because you would think for someone like Manson, he'd want to sort of hit the heavy right out the gates, but maybe this is a new kind of side to Manson. We shall see. Anyway, up next is the single Deep Six. Second song on the album is Deep Six, which is also the first single being released from the album. This has sort of industrial style sounds that fade into the song before a lone guitar plays the main riff to the song, and then a driving drum beat kicks in. This goes into the classic Manson style stomp that we're all familiar with, such as on songs with like Beautiful People, Don't Like the Drugs, etc. That's for the pre-chorus. This then goes into full-on anthemic style chorus riff with shout-along lyrics, which live is absolutely going to slay. Again, the song has a slight touch of 70s glam rock style. I don't know if this is just me hearing it or if it's on purpose that it's got that kind of touch to it. It also kind of recalls his previous work on his classic Mechanical Animals album as well. The verse riff as well join the song, having a slight sense of impending menace to it. Again, might just be me picking up on that, but it might be fully intentional. The next track on the album is Third Day of a 7-Day Binge, and it starts with another sleazy sounding bass line and drum beat. There's a low key guitar that comes in about a minute into the song, playing in the background with a very simple kind of riff. However, it suits the mood of the song. Manson again saying in absolutely fine voice, probably the best voice he's sounded for a while. Whether this is due to him maybe cutting down on drugs or anything, I really don't know, but he's sounding absolutely superb on this album. It's the kind of thing you would expect if Marilyn Manson one day covered, for example, Radiohead's Fake Plastic Trees. Might just be me thinking that, however. Halfway through, the song fades so that it's just the drum beat and Manson's vocals before the guitar comes back in, not crashing back in, but it comes back in with a bit of distortion this time and plays something along the lines of a solo. All in all, this song has a very restrained style, and to be honest with you, that makes it all the more better for its subtlety. And so we're on to the Mephistopheles of Los Angeles. I do mix up that name. Anyway, this starts with a lone guitar, and then the drums join in again, all very subtly. The drums then hit a very beautiful people style kind of drum beat. The bass and Manson vocals join with the odd bit of guitar in the back. Again, this is kind of a very mournful sounding song. I have a feeling that this album is a little bit more personal than before, but with better musical backing than what we had on the Eat Me Drink Me album. The chorus hits a proper 70s rock style stomp with Manson's flair for making those kind of choruses sound absolutely huge. Live, this could sound absolutely amazing. Again, used to the quiet to loud dynamics of old school Manson, brought back on this album in superb fashion. All in all, another fantastic song on this album. Next song on the album is Warship My Wreck. This starts with industrial sounds and then a lone guitar starts, and this fades the song in with subtle drums and keyboards. Manson then joins with his vocals, the whole song giving a bit of a very funereal style of vibe to it. Once it hits the minute and a half point of the song, it starts to sound a bit like The Day the World Went Away by 9 Inch Nails. The vocals and instruments all build up in intensity as the song continues, until they suddenly just stop and break down to just a keyboard in the middle of the song. Then the guitar comes crashing back in along with the other instruments. As the song starts building up again building up the intensity of the song. Again, it all stops to just the keyboards and the bass playing. The vocals then join in with Manson again, sounding as impassioned as he always does, but more so on this album than anything. I have a feeling the lyrics, more than anything on this album, have been more of a emotional and personal catharsis for him. And then Manson comes back in with an impassioned recital of the chorus. The song, to me, it sounds like a mix between 9 Inch Nails, The Day I Went Away, and their more serene moments. The Wall era Pink Floyd, and Manson's own Man That You Fear from his classic Antichrist Superstar album. But the song fades to just a load of layered vocals, repeating the same phrases over and over again until they also fade out. All in all, a bit of a interesting change for Manson, the sound of this song, and definitely a fantastic centrepiece and high point of the album. Slave, Only Dreams Be King starts with the sound of a preacher man saying his sermon to a crowd. The drums kick in with, again, a very sort of 70s sleazy style drum beat, while a very distorted, I think it's a keyboard, plays along with it. Manson then comes in with a very interesting vocal pattern for the song. The chorus starts, and then the guitars enter into the mix, propelling along a very powerful sounding chorus. There are parts of this song that sort of reminded me of the old days back on Portrait of an American Family album for some reason. I don't know if it was just the kind of the way the keyboards are used in this song or something. But the song ends with the same preacher from the beginning, continuing his sermon. All in all, very interesting song, a very nice departure for Mr. Manson. The next song is The Devil Beneath My Feet. The drums kick the song off before the bass joins again with a bit of a sleazy rock sound, which again seems to be prevalent all over this album. And then Manson joins in with his vocals. The chorus consists of just Manson singing, the drums, and some sort of hand claps in the background, giving a bit of a gospel feel to the song. The use of the guitar on this song is very sort of sparse at the beginning, kind of sparse throughout, to be honest with you. It's a very bass and drum kind of driven song, much like, say, Tool, for instance. More so than the sort of songs that Manson's done before in the past with this style. Anyway, the chorus refrain of "Don't Need a Motherfucker Looking Down on Me" may well become the new kind of refrain of the disenfranchised youth at his live gigs. All in all, this would be probably something of a centrepiece to his live concerts. I really do hope it's one of the songs he does play when he does some more live gigs over here in the UK. All in all, a fantastic song. Up next is Birds of Hell Awaiting. The song fades in with some industrial sounds, then slow bass and drum beat starts the song off properly, giving it a very nice rock style groove. The song has a very western film sort of soundtrack feel to it. Manson's vocals having a lot of echo on them to give them more of a haunting sort of quality throughout the course of the song. All in all, the song has a very western but ethereal, almost dreamlike sound to it, and near the end the use of saxophones may well be a nod to the early work of David Bowie while he was going through his experimental phase, which it seems to be where Manson is at in his own career. So all in all, this might well be the most Bowie-like sort of song he's done. The penultimate song on the album is Cupid Carries a Gun. It's a very Antichrist superstar drum beat that kicks this song off, with an acoustic guitar being plucked as Manson's vocals kick in. The song itself calling to mind Depeche Mode's Personal Jesus, which of course Marilyn Manson a few years ago covered himself. There's expertly placed guitar riffs along with switching between the distorted guitar and the acoustic sound of it as well. At the outro uses a bit of a spiraling guitar and bass riff as well that winds the song down until the end of the song. All in all, another good song. In fact, I'm kind of impressed because, let's be honest, the last 2-3 Manson albums have had a few sort of not so great songs on them. So yeah, so far I've not heard a single duff song on this album, so hopefully that will continue with the last song on the normal edition of the album. Bear in mind I am reviewing the special edition with the 3 extra tracks. The final song on the normal edition of the album is Odds of Even. Now this starts with the sound of dogs howling, then the drums and the bass kicking with a very slow, very kind of sleazy style, again very prevalent throughout the album. It's almost like a drug-like tempo, and there's a kind of drug-like tempo riff being played by the guitar. Then when we get to the middle, there's almost like almost a jazz-like free guitar playing, while the drums and bass continue with the very same slow pace. At the end of the song, it builds up and up in intensity with Manson repeating the chorus refrain, which is basically the title of the track. Now, the track itself is 7 minutes 52 seconds long. However, the actual song ends after 6 minutes and 10 seconds, leaving you with almost 2 minutes of silence. Honestly, there's nothing there. I listened for those 2 minutes of silence to make sure there was no sort of extra bit, nothing like the song fading back in. But no, it's all silence. Not quite sure why they chose to do that. All in all, though, a good epic closer to the album, if you got the normal edition. Now, if you bought the special edition like I did, you get 3 extra tracks. However, these aren't original tracks. The 3 tracks, which are called Day 3, Fated, Faithful, Fatal, and Fall of the House of Death are just reimaginings of Third Day of a 7-day binge. I believe it's the Mephistopheles of Los Angeles, an acoustic version, and an acoustic version of Odds of Even. So it's up to you whether you want the acoustic versions as well. I'm not entirely sure if they're worth the extra money, but at least they're there if you want them. Anyway, on to my conclusion. So, in conclusion, is the album any good? Well, all in all, it's an interesting, different style of album for Manson, showing real growth in that he is not afraid to experiment with his sound. It kind of makes sense that he led off with making Deep Six the single, because that's probably the most old school Manson style sounding song on the album. The rest of the album is very kind of low key and subtle. A lot of the album comes across like the experimental works of Bowie. In fact, this might well be Manson's own low. I'm sure that he wouldn't deny that Bowie's early work was a bit of a influence on this album. In fact, on most of his albums. Now, if you like Manson, aren't afraid to hear him do something that isn't balls to the wall metal and anthems and sing-alongs, then this album is for you. Personally, I enjoyed this very much. Not sure that the bonus tracks were quite worth the extra £2-3, but there we go. You have to take these gambles with record labels, unfortunately. I'm glad that Manson himself has found a new direction for his music that he feels comfortable with. The album is tinged with an air of melancholy and sadness, which is probably due to the untimely passing of Marilyn Manson's mother, which I believe was last year. However, I definitely recommend this album, whether you be a Manson fan or whether you just want to try something different and want something that's got intelligent lyrics. It is fantastically emotionally charged and fantastically perfectly played. So yeah, new Marilyn Manson album called The Pale Emperor. Again, possibly another allusion to David Bowie's status as the Thin White Duke. Yeah, it gets a thumbs up from me, and I'll admit that I was a little bit wary whether this album would be any good after Born Villain, which was 3/4 a good album. It was a little bit over long, because I believe it was about 14-15 tracks, but yeah, this is pretty much a perfectly paced, perfectly sort of timed album, so yeah, go pick it up. I'd probably suggest that you pick up just the normal edition, unless you really, really like acoustic reinterpretations of songs, but yeah, definitely a winner. So yes, that was The Pale Emperor by Marilyn Manson. I have got a lot more albums to review for you from unsigned bands and upcoming releases by signed bands as well, some big, some small, some that you should definitely check out. I've also got more interviews to put up as well that will air on my show, the Psychosin project as it's called, also on www.totalmetalradio every Friday from 8 PM GMT, which is 3 PM EST, and every Sunday from 7 PM GMT, 2 PM EST. I hope to see you in the chat room there. I'll be playing some of the songs off this album, along with many others as well. Coming up, interviews-wise, I am waiting to hear back on whether I'll be interviewing the Marmozets, In This Moment, 36 Crazy Fists, along with many others. I also believe I have got an upcoming interview with the Birthday Massacre, but that's yet to be fully organised and also fully arranged. However, tomorrow I am off to the Unicorn in Camden to see Hearts Under Fire and Headstone Horrors, a free gig they're playing. I'll be interviewing both those bands, so those interviews will be up probably Monday, so keep an eye out for that. I'll have many more reviews coming of music, along with a few sort of little, not so much rants, but discussion type videos, the first of which will be about religion in metal, so hopefully you'll tune in for them as well. Well, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.